Thank you.
Welcome to a special session during the European Public Health Week. In a cooperation with the Tourism Institute and the European Spa Association, we are bringing together distinguished international experts to explore how to choose destination and how to choose activities that support physical and mental well-being. The session will guide you through the key element of the health-focused travel destination making, and our leading specialist in longevity, prevention, spa medicine, regenerative tourism, we will explore today how health destination can empower individuals and to be informed about the evidence-based choice for a healthier future and for a healthier travel. Our first speaker is Sebastian Frankenberger, the president of the World Federation of Tourist Guides Association. He will start. Good morning or good afternoon to Austria. Sebastian.
Thank you. Welcome everybody from Austria, from Vienna. I'm the president of the World Federation of Tourist Guide Association. A few words about our association. So we represent 200,000 professional tourist guides through 90 member associations in over 50 countries. And we're affiliate member of UN Tourism, partner of UNESCO. And before we start talking about this topic, I want to talk about what is a professional guide, because this is important for my talk. We speak for licensed, qualified tourist guides, people who know the place, its history, its people, its quiet corners from the inside, not just tour guides who happen to hold a sign at the airport, not anonymous app voices, trained, certified, local rooted human beings. And we are also not talking about guides who just Wikipedias onto feed, who just talk about numbers, facts, date without a connection. For me, that's important. And because I would say this distinction matters today more than ever. It matters in a particular way when we speak about health, because the moment health enters the equation, the quality of human guiding the experience becomes everything. This personal connection is for me so important. And so here is the question I would like to place on the table for the next 10 minutes of my speak. When we speak about European health destinations, we normally speak about places, spas, mountains, forests, salt cave, coastlines, healing waters. But what actually heals a person is rarely the place alone. It's the experience a person has in that place. An experience are not made by geography. They are made by us, by people. A thermal bath without the right guide is just hot water without a forest, without the right guides walking through them, giving inspirational thoughts, just trees. Yes, that can be healing. But think about a historic spa town without the right guide. It's just architecture. The same destination in the hands of the right guides became something entirely different. It became an encounter. It became a personal memory. It became, and this is for me, it became part of the healing process. A good tourist guide is not a walking encyclopedia. A good tourist guide is a host, a moderator, a companion. Someone for a few hours or a few days becomes something like a close friend on a location. We know the region, but importantly, we know the people in the region. The baker maybe who still uses the grandfather's recipe, the shepherd up on the mountain, the herbalist who picks the same hillside her mother picked the herbs, the woman who tends the chapel nobody else visits. We can open doors that no booking platform, no app will ever open. Because those doors are not opened by transaction. They are opened by trust. By trust is built by person to person over years inside a local community. This is also why a guided experience cannot be replicated by a video, an audio file, or even the most beautiful written guidebook. These formats deliver information, but we guides, we deliver relationship. And in health tourism, relationship is the active ingredient. Let me bring in Maslow for a moment, because every experience guide knows the pyramid instinct, and even we never name it. What do I mean with that? A guest who is exhausted, dehydrated, or anxious cannot receive culture. A guest who feels unsafe cannot feel off. A guest who feels unseen cannot connect. So our work always begins at the base of the pyramid. You know, the Maslow's pyramid of needs, you have to first talk or fulfill the basic needs, which are the physical needs. We make sure our guests are physically comfortable. Water, shade, the right pace, a place to sit. Then we make sure that they feel emotional safe, that they are not embarrassed by their language, by their walking pace, by what they do or not know. Then we create belongings, the sense of being part of a small friendly, even among strangers. And only then, on the solid foundation, we lead people upwards, towards meaning, towards a story, towards wonder, toward what sometimes we call wow moment. The quiet Caesar of the heart when a person realizes something beautiful or true about a place, about themselves, about the world. The guide who skips the base of the pyramid, jumps straight to the facts and dates, is doing tourism wrong. And in health concept, that guide can actually cause harm. Yes, we know that. And this is why training is so important. This is also why we, in cooperation with our European colleagues from the FAG, from the Federation of European Tourist Guides Association, have invested seriously in mental health awareness training for guides. We call it T-Guide training course, co-founded by the European Union. This is a project developed a few years ago. I also was trained as a T-Guide, guiding people with mental health problems, which burned out people, neurodivergent, people living in pain, with invisible illness, with anxieties they do not announce or in a registration form. A trained guide notices these small signs. A trained guide adapts the route, the tempo, the volume of the voice, the length of the silence. A trained guide knows when to speak, and just as importantly, when not to speak. And
Hello, I think we have a technical problem, or it's only me.
Yeah, I think we lost Sebastian. Yes.
Okay, then
it's
I'm sorry,
okay.
maybe he will join back.
Yes.
Look, before we start with the next speaker, because we would like to show also best cases, like a health destination, I prepared the presentation, but later on we will share it. I will not interrupt. You see the slide behind me because I just summarized the natural remedies such as thermal water, therapeutic mud, thalassotherapy, mountain healing climate, has a scientific foundation in our European health destinations. Each natural factor has clinically proven effect. So we have also e-library where we collect all this, from improving circulation, mobility, reduction of inflammation, stress, chronic pain. That's are the most typical one. What truly makes these European health destinations stand out is the combination of the natural sources with a very strong medical expertise and evidence-based treatment protocols. So this integration of nature and medical knowledge is what we say it's transform a beautiful place into a true health destination with a long-term benefits for visitors. And now I would like to go to one example.
I'm sorry, I see that Sebastian is back. So are you here, Sebastian?
So then let's go.
Yes, I can hear you, but I don't know if my connection is really stable.
So then maybe leave it to Lithuania. First of all, besides a thank you, we wish that you will still be the best host and the best storyteller, because that's what we need in our destination, this personal touch, and you are the best performer for that connection. Thank you very much. So I want to go back to Lithuania. Lithuania was under ITB awarded as the best health destination 2025. And today we have Kristina Chitvariana. She represents the Lithuanian resort destination. They have qualification system for that, and I give the floor to Kristina.
Hi everyone, do you see my presentation?
Yeah.
So, dear colleagues, dear Sheila, thank you for the opportunity to speak during the European Public Health Week, and I'm proud to represent Europe's Green Resort Network, the European Spas Association and Lithuanian Resource Association as well, which I am working for. And today I would like to present Lithuania as a green health resort destination where public health, sustainability, and innovation come together very naturally. My slides are not changing, I think. Oh, yes, I see them. Lithuania may be a small country, yes, but we have a very strong foundation for health tourism. We don't have many resort towns, only 4 resort towns and 5 resort areas, but what we have...
Kristina, sorry, go start the presentation because it's only the first slide.
How can it be?
You should start.
Yes, I already did.
No, it's okay.
What slide are you seeing now? Do you see a map or do you see
second one? Yeah.
Another slide?
But it's not big enough. The map, yeah.
Bottom right-hand corner.
Which one slide is it?
There you go. There you go.
Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I will stop sharing and start over. Is it okay now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Are these slides changing or not?
Yes.
Sheila.
Second slide.
Yes, that's perfect. Please.
What slide are you seeing now, Sheila?
Second
slide. And okay, do you see the third slide?
Yes.
Okay, so over the years, Lithuania has developed a strong ecosystem of climate health, balneology, and sustainable tourism. Our balneology is science-based, like Sheila mentioned, and our approach combines natural healing resources, rehabilitation traditions, and recovery in nature. And we believe that health destinations should not only help people recover, but also help them stay healthier for a longer time. And Lithuania offers exceptional natural resources of health tourism. Mineral water, therapeutic mud have been used here for centuries in rehabilitation, chronic pain treatment, and stress reduction. And I have to mention that around 70% of resort territories are covered by forests, by pine forests especially, creating this unique environment for climate therapy, emotional balance, and recovery from modern day stress. And at the same time, Lithuania's resorts are becoming increasingly innovative and sustainable. We are developing smarter health ecosystems that combine personalized rehabilitation, AI-supported solutions, and low-carbon infrastructure with calm human-scale environments. And now I want to play you a short video just for you to see what Lithuania has to offer. So what really makes Lithuania stand out is the way medical competence, nature, and contemporary health experiences come together in one destination. Visitors can experience modern rehabilitation centers, mineral water therapies, and recovery programs surrounded by pine forests, rivers, and exceptionally clean air. And across Lithuanian resort, health is integrated into the landscape itself. Forest trails, riverside promenades, cycle routes, and public mineral water drinking and breathing, even pavilions, become part of the recovery experience. And Lithuania also offers experiences rarely found together elsewhere in Europe and even in the world. For example, a spa hotel dedicated only to sleep quality and deep rest, a ski arena operating even during the summertime, a cable car crossing one of the country's most beautiful river valleys. Along the Baltic coast, which are you seeing right now, the marine climate therapy is combined with active lifestyle infrastructure, contemporary health experiences, and recovery by the sea. And what truly defines Lithuania is the balance between medical competence, medical quality, innovation, sustainability, and that very simple, calm, human-scale environments which are designed for long-term well-being. So this is the clip ends. And going forward, I would like to mention that Lithuania is increasingly recognized as one of the Europe's emerging health tourism destinations, and rehabilitation services, of course, meet the highest European standards, and our resort towns, our medical spas are recognized by the German health insurance system, and international awards such as ESPA Innovation Awards, ITB Health Tourism Destination Award. They further strengthen Lithuania's growing reputation across Europe. And just to add a few examples for you what medical spas and medical treatments in Lithuania and medical spas look like. To add, Lithuania is a place where natural remedies meet modern well-being. And as an expert in this field, I can say that more and more visitors and more people are not only looking for treatment or relaxation, but for authentic experiences that restore physical, emotional balance, and quality of life. And just for you to imagine, this is how Lithuania's health and well-being sector looks like in numbers. So it is a leading tourism field in Lithuania, and health tourism in Lithuania is evolving into a strategically important part of the national tourism and health economy. And to end my presentation, I would say that in a world full of stress, aging societies, and growing need for healthier living, the most valuable destinations will be those that help people slow down, recover, breathe deeper, and reconnect with healthier ways of living. And we believe that this is the future of health tourism, and Lithuania is proud to be part of shaping it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now it's really a great invitation to visit Lithuania, not only because of the climate change and less people going to the south and discovering the potential in the Nordic countries. So thank you very much for the pictures and the intro. And we will welcome two speakers from the UK. First, I would like to welcome Mrs. Heidi Stone, a positive psychologist. This sounds already fabulous. She's founder of One World, One Life. And the floor is, Heidi, to you. Please bring us to the positive mood.
Thank you. I'm just going to. There we go. Has that worked? Have you got that? Can you see the slide?
Not at the moment. It says you have to, yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. Thank you for that introduction. I've got a master's degree in positive psychology, and I've been designing experiences for over 20 years with large global corporations, including aviation, hospitality companies, hotels, and even doing invisible disability design to support people that have got disabilities to enable them to be able to travel freely and have accessible breaks and experience all the well-being that we can do through travel. So I want to take us on a slightly different journey. This is about travel experiences that will connect us to our true nature. So just a really quick introduction. We know that if we want to have a travel experience that goes beyond what general tourism can provide, we can look to wellness travel and transformational travel. Wellness travel provides the much needed rest and rejuvenation, including spa treatments and yoga treatments and healthy eating. And in contrast, transformational travel goes beyond these fleeting comforts and aiming for deep, more restorative, lasting change that covers sort of different perspectives, beliefs, and even down to our identity level. But we do have a health paradox. So the wellness tourism is in multi-hundred of billions and growing faster than mainstream tourism. We've never spent more money individually or more time and our attention on health and well-being. And the transformational travel area is booming as well and offering more deeper psychological depth. But still rates of anxiety, depression, loneliness, burnout, metabolic illnesses, sleep disorders and everything are rising. And the World Health Organization says that depression and anxiety cost the global economy $1 trillion a year in lost productivity. And it's not that we're short of finding solutions, but it could be that we're actually focusing on the wrong problem. And that's what this talk is sort of about. We're really good at providing treatment for symptoms and sometimes calling that wellness. But my question has always been, but what if the question isn't how do we feel better, but why do we feel so bad in the first place? So positive psychology is the study of flourishing and subjective well-being. And it's been used a lot in transformational travel. It started back after Marty Seligman sort of brought positive psychology to the forefront. We then started to look at how essentially travel could improve our well-being and happiness. And there's been a lot of research and study on that and proven that, yes, actually it can. It can, the trips can be more enjoyable, restorative and meaningful and helping us connect. And we use different models in positive psychology to sort of bring that to life. There was then a shift out of just sort of more of the hedonic areas of pleasure and happiness to sort of stretch the research into what's called eudaimonia. And that field sort of looks more deeply in terms of what does it take to live a well-lived life? How can we bring forward things like meaning and growth, authenticity, connectedness, and self-understanding? And that work's been brought right up to date. And obviously we're quite aware of nature, and that's sort of taken more seriously now. So there's a lot more research in there as well from the psychological benefits. So we know that nature-based travel, like Christina's just been talking about, has been linked to stress reduction, mental restoration, and positive emotion in ways that are qualitatively different from, for example, a city break. And more recently, there was a sort of a really good multidisciplined research study that happened just last year that was looking at all the different kinds of elements of psychology. So whether that be cognitive psychology, social psychology, positive psychology, environmental psychology, they were bringing them all together and looking at what the gaps were. And positive psychology in tourism asks how travel improves happiness and restoration and meaning. But what I've been looking at is, aside from evolutionary psychology, there's even things that we have like evolutionary biology. And the other area of psychology that has still been missed out quite commonly is indigenous psychology, which brings a whole new depth of understanding our role in the world, in nature, and for ourselves. So I mentioned that we've got quite a few different tools and frameworks: environment design, how we can do that, and then more commonly known as the PERMA model, how we can design and evoke positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, authentic achievement. And more recently, the V and the H stands for vitality and health. And I think it's important because we tend to forget that we're looking at psychology, but there is no gap, there is no breaking part between our body and our mind. Universities may be organized in that way and we may talk about them in that way, but actually there's such a deep connection. So as I say, we have these frameworks that we can use. And when we're thinking about experience design, a good way to use the literature is use PERMA to check whether the experience supports all-round well-being, but use eudaimonic models and the memorable tourism experience frameworks to shape what would be meaningful and memorable later. But as I said, I've got this challenge that's about this evolutionary mismatch, and I think we're starting to hear about it more commonly now. I've been talking about it for some years. So both wellness and travel and transformation travel aim to solve problems of modern day living, for example, health, meaning, purpose, and lack of fulfillment. It's quite clear that our modern ways of living have created an evolutionary mismatch, a disconnection between our current lifestyle and the way that humans have evolved to live. So there's a lot of talk about how our brains even are about 200,000 years old. It's not adapted much. It's not needed to adapt. It feels it doesn't need to adapt. But there is a huge gap between our biology and what it needs and actually what modern day living is, the environment in which we are trying to sort of thrive and flourish at the moment. So things like the fast-paced, always-on technology advancements and individualistic mindsets, which is prevalent in the Western society, contributes to various illnesses such as stress and mental anguish and disease. So I do believe that the evolutionary mismatch, it highlights a need for us to bridge our modern lives with the wisdom and practices that have supported human flourishing for millennia, some of which most indigenous psychology research shows us that it's just the way that they live. But we've obviously got more common modern examples of that as well. So I do believe that when we're looking at designing experiences, that actually we need to be looking at the fact that modern life is an evolutionary mismatch. So as I said, we evolved over hundreds of thousands of years ago in sensory-rich natural environments, small cohesive groups, usually about 50 to 150, maximum 200. With physical movement that was built into daily life, we didn't need to go to gyms. Activity and movement was sort of part of our natural day-to-day way of living. Natural light governed our sleep and waking, seasonal food, meaningful, purposeful work, and genuine social bonds. Now, it really started to change back when the agricultural industry came in, but more recently, 200 years, and been accelerating dramatically in the last 30 years. We're now living in conditions that are radically misaligned with those requirements. So artificial light disrupts our circadian rhythm, ultra-processed food, sedentary indoor work. We're spending way more time indoors now than outside. Fragmented social connections. Again, digital connections are not the same as human connections. Chronic low-grade stress and screen-mediated reality is really replacing direct sensory experience. And the consequences are not just psychological. So, in the research, again, from a biology perspective, the circadian rhythm is, when it's disrupted, every organ in the body, apart from red blood, well, every cell in the body and every organ, apart from red blood cells, they all have peripheral clocks that are governing the hormones, neurotransmitters, immune function, mitochondria production for energy, and our metabolism. And it all falls out of sync. So it's not a metaphor in the slightest, it's actually measurable in biology. And it's a baseline of condition where most of us are coming from when we start to look at travel options to improve our health and well-being. So my belief is that positive tourism, based on positive psychology research, identifies the benefits, but evolutionary psychology and biology helps us explain the deeper human predispositions that the benefits are tapping into. So what can travel really do? So while transformation travel builds the promise of deep and personal change, it's still operating within a Western framework that contributes to the evolutionary mismatch. So to truly experience transformation, we need tools and frameworks that help us connect with the benefits of our ancestral ways of living. And then by looking at cultures that have preserved their roots and ancestral wisdom, we can actually learn how to reconnect ourselves back again to nature, community, and a spiritual philosophy that remembers that we're actually all one. Now, we do have more modern day examples of that. Probably everybody's heard of the blue zones. Putting aside the fact that some of the research is a bit off, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, because what the research missed, what the outcomes and the sort of lifestyle suggestions missed, was that it really underweighed the sort of circadian dimension and the evolutionary mismatch according to, and how we use natural light. So what it didn't demonstrate was those cultures where people have been living to, on average, about 100 years old. There's no addictive technology for the length of their majority of their lifespan. They eat seasonally, and that includes more animal protein, maybe in the winter, plant-heavy summers. They're aligned with what their environment actually produces naturally. There's no supermarkets flying in food from different countries and presenting us bananas in the winter. Outdoor physical life, as I mentioned before, is not an exercise, but it's part of daily existence. The terrain is different, the agriculture, building things and walking. Small, tight communities where everyone has a social role, purposeful work, cultural continuity and respect for wisdom from the elders. And there's no algorithmic social life, no artificial optimizing of our day-to-day experience. And the argument is that, for me, the Icarians aren't long-lived because of one or two lifestyle factors. They're long-lived because their entire environment, their social, physical, temporal, and nutritional structure has remained closer to the conditions that we humans evolved for. And it's still so important to us now. So again, here's a great quote that sort of says, the greatest medicine of all is to teach people how to align with the rhythms of the earth, to rise with the sun and rest with the moon, and to move in harmony with the systems, with the seasons. So the way I approach design for this particular area is designing for our true nature and recognizing, first of all, that our true nature is that we are nature itself. Now, there's lots of stuff so for example, there's the circadian rhythm itself. It simultaneously regulates gene expression, hormone release, immune function, metabolic rate, neurotransmitter synthesis, cellular repair across about 37 trillion cells, all entrained to environmental life signals. No AI system in the world can operate at that degree of an integrated, embodied, self-sustaining complexity. Our bodies actually know what to do to sort of heal ourselves. It's more spoken about now. We're actually made of exploded stars. Our mitochondria were once free living bacteria, and we have about 1 human cell to every 10 bacterial cells. So less human cells than bacterial. Forests actually literally talk through us to talk to each other. We actually eliminate light. The human body actually eliminates light, actual photons of light. And the ocean chemistry runs in our blood. So there's an ionic composition of human blood plasma, and that closely resembles the composition of ancient seawater from roughly about 500 million years ago. So it's we are made of nature. I'm sorry, I'll go back one more. So again, there is designing for true nature is literally about designing for natural environments, re-entering conditions of our physiology evolved for, psychologically reconnecting to what genuinely sustains human flourishing rather than what some of the wellness industry tells us that we should be doing, and philosophically a counter-argument to the optimization and the hacking culture that frames human beings as a problem to be fixed, rather than an organism with deep needs that modern society has interrupted. So based on these principles, in this example, I've used sort of nine principles for design for anybody, wherever we go, to create an evolutionary match. And there are so many beautiful places in Europe that can do this. You know, whether it's Lithuania, like we've just talked about, whether that be Portugal or a Greek island, what we're looking for are principles that sort of say, right, how can we choose locations that's not going to be city-based, but that's got more of a natural environment? There's limited noise, no artificial light, there's no crowds. The nervous system never fully down-regulates unless we do that, because the environment doesn't signal safety or rest. So we need to choose locations that have natural soundscapes and dominates, genuine darkness at night, open landscapes so that we can actually see an expansion, sparse population, but general things like walking to a hillside becomes normal because it's just there. We talked a lot about living by light, the mismatch that is about how artificial light disrupts our master circadian clock and all the peripheral clocks that are so important to our biology. So we're doing more things like sunrise walks with locals, candlelit evenings, no in-room screens after dark. The third one is about eating what the land and seasons offer. So year-round ultra-processed food removes seasonal biological cues to the body's clocks evolved. So the circadian rhythm is not just based on light, it also needs temperature, and food is a strong indicator. It has information. So again, it's about cooking locally with family, going to the market shop and cooking, learning to preserve, understanding each ingredient before eating it. And these are all things that when we travel, that we can include rather than necessarily sort of going to the supermarket or going to the shops, or maybe taking time out to not eat in a hotel restaurant one night and going out and finding something that's more in tune with what our biology actually needs.
Dear Heidi, may I ask you to make it very short because we are running out of time, to summarize, yeah?
Yeah, nearly finished. So we've got moving is the train demands, talked a lot about that, belonging to a small group of known people, doing purposeful work, resting without guilt, and again, observing afternoon stillness, no agenda, say, for a few hours, giving shade a view, having a view, nothing expected, genuine permission to do nothing, time off technology, and engaging with cultural continuity. So I think there's the most powerful thing is a health destination can offer is not a new version of you, but a reminder of the version that was always there before the mismatch. And then just to draw this to a close, it's to say, I think the evolutionary mismatch also helps us explain some patterns our research keeps finding that hasn't always fully accounted for. So why the benefits of travel tend to fade on return, why people often feel low after coming home, and why urban environments feel more depleting in ways that persist. So if travel temporarily closes the mismatch and returning to normal life reopens it, then the fade out effect that we get is not just about losing the novelty of travel, it's more about re-entering the conditions we find genuinely harder to thrive in.
Thank you very much. And I can summarize it like body, mind, soul should work in an efficient framework. That's what we need in modern lifestyle. And that was an excellent message in this European Public Health Week, also to have it from the perspective of a doctor. And now we will move to
I'm sorry,
breathe.
Sheila. Sebastian is back. Maybe he
Look,
can
no,
say
no, no,
2-3 minutes.
No, final, please, because we are really too late. So let's keep the timeline and to welcome and to go to the nature and to breathe in a rural area. And we invite Mr. Klaus Ehrlich from the Federation of Rural Tourism from Spain to explain the role of the rural areas in a health destination. So, Mr. Klaus Ehrlich, the floor is yours. And
Yes,
please
thank
try
you.
to keep 6-7 minutes because we have
Yeah,
more speakers. Thank you.
I know. I would like to share the screen, but I cannot. Is there maybe wait?
You
Ah,
can.
yeah, now it appeared. Sorry, everything. I have the screen in small. I just have a laptop screen at the moment. So I'll try to be quick. Anyway, I'm pretty practical. quickly, the entity, Rural Tour European Federation, Rural Tourism. In fact, I'm right now in Croatia. We have our General Assembly here. We just had it this morning, and we have a European Congress this afternoon starting. We are kind of industry organization, providers of very small rural services, mostly hospitality, but also activities and gastronomy activities. No exact figures because many of them are outside of the official statistics that have thresholds to even count these services. But we have some figures here: 600,000 micro enterprises, 1 to 3 people frequently only, 6 to 7, 8 million bed places in Europe. That's about the thing. So we're in rural areas, and I'll jump in directly to why, if this would move on, which it does not. No, for some reason it starts painting on the screen. I don't know what happened here. Well, I'll share again because this is strange. Maybe it appears now nicer when I share again. Or is it again? Now it's moving. Yes. So when we talk about rural areas, we can as the topic is also of this event, it is never a single service. And this might still work in a spa hotel or in a specific spa establishment. But when we talk about rural areas, you have a distance, you have one service here, one service there. All of them in a destination need to cooperate. They need to work together. It's, of course, people have to sleep. So accommodation needs to keep this in mind. Gastronomy needs to keep this in mind. Maybe not all services at all level, but you need a critical number of each type of service. Active tourism, let people something to do. Landscape need to be accessible, no risk for people with some mobility problems or some other sensory problems. The same applies for heritage and culture access, events and other resources. So basically, when we talk about the topic, we talk about a sustainable, healthy tourism or health-based or health-orientated tourism in rural areas in a wide understanding, which includes big hotels and big complexes. And when we talk about the small-scale services, which is what we represent, then it is rural tourism as it was understood in the past already. It's family-run enterprises, small places, often it's self-catering or small bed and breakfast guest houses, or farm tourism as a very specific part. So you go on a farm. So that's what we talk about when we now need to locate or see the potential of health. Now, this slide, and I intentionally use this slide I use in generic presentations to show the different sub-products we have in rural areas, because it was very easy to adapt. And the message I want to bring out here is that the products we anyway offer, and we only anyway focus our image on when we talk about tourism in rural areas, many of them have already health as a transversal element. So when we talk about nature ecotourism, well, that is inherent in the fact that you go to a natural intact area, very much in the line what Heidi presented before. Don't disturb an equilibrium, keep it, support it, regenerate it, but don't destroy it. Keep a healthy, self-sustained ecosystem. Food and drink, you can influence strongly about. Not all traditional food is healthy. Be careful. We always love authentic food. Very careful. It's heavy, but it is a strong element when we talk about health tourism. Look at food and drink. Look at families with kids. Look at all kinds of activities. Physical activity definitely is positive, but not too much, but without risk. So look at it. Monuments, culture, history need to be visitable without risk. Events, festivities, yes, but in a way that people are not overstressed. You don't overstress the local population, not overstress yourself as a visitor. But these are just the standard things. And then now we look at the niche markets. All 55 plus includes myself. We have, well, no serious health issue, but we need to be aware that something could happen. So we need an infrastructure on the ground that is prepared for more contingencies that would happen with the younger population. So it has to be in the mindset of all destinations, and even more if you want to focus on this segment or on specifically healthy. Health and well-being are, of course, evidently linked to health. sensation experiences are evidently very much linked directly to, let's say, mental health and de-stressing, de-moving away, but also the others you have here in some way or the other have a relation to or are influenced, have a link to health aspects. Now, what is a common characteristic of people who look at any of these projects, but also at health as a, let's say, specific segment? They know very or better than a mass or a generic visitor what they want, which means they will look for the services, for the destinations that are most adequate. So that's a communication thing. I come to this in the next slide, and then I'm through. But they have a high specific motivation to go. They go out of time, they go out of season. So they are the ideal complement for the generic, more easy to sell products and services that sell only in certain parts of the year. The rest of the year, at least rural areas, have a real problem with occupancy. So focusing, looking at health aspects, extending the product image and maybe the scope of things offered to health specific is very positive and extends the season. Now, last slide. What is needed, because this is all telling you what you probably know already. What have destinations to do? Of course, they need to think about health when they think about their KPIs, when they think about evaluating, thinking, what do I do in my area? Well, think about health, because many, I bet, don't even think about health as an element. They may be as a basic infrastructure, we need a hospital, but that's it. No, not as a positive sales argument. And this needs to be a positive thing to keep in mind. No, I want to focus on this. I want to sell this. I want to make this visible. So next thing I need to know to map the whole health resources I have. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there is something essential needed that I don't have. Then I need to link them to tourism movements, what I have, and also make a development for those resources that I find when mapping that are not sufficiently developed, are not there, or maybe are underdeveloped. So I have something, but I need better infrastructure. So this is what destinations have to look at, and they need to be very careful and definitely specialize somebody who does mainly this, because it's quite a job, even for a smaller destination, let's say a county or something like this. There's quite a lot to do here. Tourism services, those are the ones that will be in contact with the visitor directly. First of all, again, they need awareness that this is a market, that this is something to look at, not just saying, okay, yeah, I have some healthy food and local food. No, not necessarily this is local is healthy. And that's not all also. So I need awareness. I need to understand what this is about. Then, similar to what regions do or destinations do, of course, make an inventory. What do I have? What do I have myself and what is close by, so I can maybe combine it with a neighbor to work together to create, because I'm alone not able, but I can combine with him to get more attractive. Is this enough to create a specific unique sales point? Is this enough to say, okay, I'm special in this, so I put it on top on my arguments, why should people visit me? Or is it just something that I also have, which is still important, but not enough to focus my business on? Improvement plan, similar to destinations, but for my proper company. And of course, you always will need training, and upskilling. So you need to find out, where do I stand? I have the technical equipment, but can I manage it? Can I really work with it? I can build a spa, but can I manage the spa? Do I have the skills for this? No? Okay, skilling. So always think about education forming. And in closing, necessary, of course, you need not just these two things, destinations being aware and tourism services being aware. You need a leadership at political level, because politicians finally are influencing and are controlling the destinations, usually. And without politicians, you don't get grants or support mechanisms that you need as a tourism service. So you need also to work at a political level. And the best argument with politicians on this one is just tell them, look, we will all be clients for this at some point in our life. So in your own interest, start thinking about it right now. Thank you very much. I hope this was short and in time. And any question, please send them to me, because I have another meeting starting in 7 minutes. So if you have any questions, I'm available 7 minutes, and then I have to leave you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And a special thanks that you mentioned the four-season destination, which is extremely important. That's why health destinations are so popular also in the politics, in the leadership, as you mentioned. And whenever we go to the rural areas, we leave the very crowded places, of course. Teamwork, leadership in the rural development, that's were the last keywords. Thank you for the quick and summarized presentation. And now I would like to greet the CEO of Mood Monsters, Dr. Hassin Yassin. He's a psychologist with a special expert of mental well-being, and he's from the UK. Are you with us, Yassin?
Hello, yeah. Hi, you guys. My name's Hassan. I am a psychiatrist based out in the UK, specifically working with children and adolescents that struggle with mental health difficulties. And I'm going to just have a quick discussion about neurodiversity in travel, a very niche area of travel that I think is going to be one that's interesting for people to think about, and also one that's going to be a growing segment that people will want to consider. So for a lot of people, holiday begins kind of when they arrive, but for, in my clinical practice and having written many letters to various airlines and hotels and people to make reasonable accommodations, it starts either way before that with the idea of just trying to survive the actual journey itself, rather than the kind of getting on the plane and being excited. So the reason I'm on this panel, I am a psychiatrist. So I've got clinical expertise working with children with autism and ADHD, having assessed hundreds and hundreds of them. I also have a company that makes emotional literacy card games called Mood Monsters, which you mentioned. We're talking with an airline at the moment to partner with them, including a sensory kit for neurodiverse children as well as some other mood-related digital experiences and products that we're building. So for everyone that isn't familiar with neurodiversity, broadly speaking, it covers autism and ADHD. The differences between them is autism is a lifelong neurodevelopmental condition, and largely impacts people with their social interactions, understanding social situations. Sensory processing can be a significant challenge, and that can obviously impact the travel experience. Conversely, with ADHD, that's another neurodevelopmental condition, where the issues are more around attention regulation and impulsivity, as well as executive function, which is around planning and sequencing tasks. Both of these are on the rise in terms of diagnosis across Europe and globally, and it will form a significant part of where anyone that's in travel, anyone that's in the industry will encounter people with neurodiversity, and accommodating them is going to be a crucial part of the future moving forward. So, when we look at people with neurodiversity, the system really can let them down at multiple points in the journey. So again, I started before travel. There's an awful lot more planning that happens with neurodiverse families than maybe neurotypical families. So they will be looking for a lot more information about the destinations, the rules, any sensory difficulties that might happen, and any accommodations that the places would give. And obviously that's rarely disclosed at the point of booking, and so it can be quite difficult to find that information. Again, then on the process of travel, a huge amount of anxiety around airports and so on, and transport. And then in the accommodations themselves, kind of the environment, a lot of very interesting talks early on about how we can potentially, Heidi mentioned about how we can potentially kind of optimize environments to be the most sensory aligned environments that you can have. And that's probably something that would be very helpful. So there are studies, and they've done kind of a lot of. There's a significant study in 2024 where they asked families with neurodiverse families what are the things that they're actually looking for when it comes to travel. Number one is transparent information up front. So that's the kind of thing that, what do I need to know? What does it look like? Where is it? How do I get there? What does it smell like? What are the features of the place? Do they have a quiet zone or a low sensory area? Not the whole place, doesn't have to be the entire area, but is there a place where when I'm overstimulated or when a person's overstimulated, they can go and be safe there? And then the single biggest predictor of whether they're, anyone's with neurodiversity is going to come back feeling with a positive experience is the kindness and patience of staff, and understanding and maybe the training around neurodiversity, which is a crucial part, I think, of the industry moving forward. The staff, kind of the understanding would be around understanding those things, what the information is that a neurodiverse family might need, how sensory impacts the day-to-day quality of the experience, what they might need in terms of cues, prompts, signage, and so on, as well as then the emotional support too. So those are 4 key pillars that really could be implemented almost anywhere, but would uptick significantly quality of the experience that someone has. So there's broadly a Neurus travel standard where it's kind of about noticing sensory load on someone, explaining to them what to expect, understanding if there are invisible distresses that might be building up, so that they can be mitigated before it hits boiling point. Reducing the friction as much as possible, so queues, crowded areas, making that process more streamlined, and then offering alternatives where available. So there should be a framework, in my opinion, kind of how we kind of provide this for neurodiverse families. I'm hoping this might be the start of a conversation around that. And I'm happy to have that with other people. Again, kind of we're working on a few things ourselves, but that's very independent and working with a few companies to try and provide sensory kits and other bits and pieces that might be helpful. So a truly healthy destination isn't one that helps just people relax when they arrive, but it allows people with different minds to arrive fully intact. Happy to have any questions directed at me or if anyone wants to get in touch. Hopefully that was short and sweet enough. So.
Thank you very much. It was excellent. And very honestly, I'm also, as a person, touched with both type of problems in the family. So I know very well what you are talking about. And I can confirm that this kind of kids enjoy the green, less crowded areas. Climate Head Resort, please take care of that. We will talk later. And also a lot of activities in the nature. That's definitely one good recipe to have them. Thank you. And I would like to ask Professor Susie Roos from San Jose State University to give an insight as a transformation scientist to make the view even more completed. Good morning to the US.
Good morning.
Susie,
Thank you so much for having me.
So the floor is yours to make the round of doctors and scientists completed.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for having me. I will go ahead and share some screen here. And just to give you a little context while I get it better for you. Can you see the screen? I should probably change it a little bit. Maybe go like this. How's that?
No, it's perfect.
That's better. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, just to give it a little bit of a context, I'm a professor in public health and recreation therapy, actually, for 26 years at San Jose State University in California, US. And also I have a training company called Integrate with a number 8 at the end there. And today I just want to talk to you a little bit about my work over the last 25 plus years, scientifically studying the phenomena of transformation in the context of travel. personally, I had a life-changing travel experiences. And so then I wanted to go study, how do you integrate after you return home? Because we have all these powerful experiences in so many different ways that the group has been talking about today. And then you come home, and then what? And oftentimes what happens is that we want to return. We want to return yet again to another beautiful place or a beautiful experience, to come home to ourselves, to our essence, to remember what life is really all about and who we are, and to receive that sort of rejuvenation that helps us to face challenge and to become a better person. So, how does that happen? Okay, so when the nagging is in the heart, a call to something deeper and greater, it's not solved solely with a formula of remembering, not even with storytelling. The formula is about shedding what was so that you can become what is arising. So I invite you to think about a life-changing travel experience that you've had, and then also the return home. And what I propose to you is that the vast majority of folks that are seeking a travel experience are integrating a previous experience. So a lot of times I would propose to you that many travelers are actually trying to reconcile the past when they come seeking your place, your service, your experiences. Okay. So for Joseph Campbell helped us to understand there are 3 different ways that we transform. We can transform through trauma or some unexpected situation. We can transform through surprise. It's unexpected. We land ourselves at a rejuvenating spa and are changed. Or we intend to transform. So I went about in studying about 20 different disciplines to understand transformation from many different perspectives. And when we look at anthropology, the formula for transformation, the elders led us outward, out of our village, to learn about something greater and something deeper, and we're impacted. And that has been a formula across the millennia. What I studied, though, was what happens when you come home. That we found through much of the research is that if we don't integrate the life-changing experience, then we're not able to complete the transformation. Completing the transformation means integrating. So what we found in my research is that experiences alone do not cause transformation. That there's really an industry gap then of not only facilitating these transformative, powerful experiences, but how can we also design and guide, help people to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, to find ourselves again, lasting change. So what happened was in 2006 to 2008, I studied the integration of life-changing experience with a team of researchers. And that produced this paper that I wrote in 2010 that really landed transformative travel. So I encourage you to look it up because there is where I identify a whole typology of transformative travelers to be able to understand and to be able to design for transformative travel. However, this is what we found. These are the results. So when we have that life-changing experience, which is right up there at the top, the travel that is life-changing or deeply touching, we come home and we go through an integration process that is kind of challenging. And yet it makes sense because a lot of times when we come home, we might be sad and go through these different aspects that are difficult. And what the unexpected results were, here's the formula over the last thousands of years of rites of passage on the right, initiation. And then if we bring that over and put it over on top there, connecting to the integration process, then what we have is a complete transformation. And so this was the surprise that actually what we discovered is that transformation is in the shape of a figure 8. The upper part of the figure 8 is the life-changing journey. And the lower part of the figure 8 is the integration, what happens when you come home. What I propose to you is that these lower half phases 6, 7, 8, and 9, which can be difficult, I propose to you that there are many travelers coming to you, then they're sad, or they're disorienting. Who am I? Seeking, who am I? Or maybe their life has fallen apart in dismemberment and they are truly needing deep rest, quiet, solitude, and place to find themselves. And so by better understanding the very, very detailed aspects of transformation, these phases, we will be able to curtail the design to the traveler who is seeking these lower half integration processes. So what I'll do in closure is to be able to show these key pieces here and let you know that you can clarify your market by you can work with my website there, susieross.net, to be able to curate in that way, to slow down, slower processing, emotional regulation, inviting meaningful conversation, and reducing overstimulation by also reflecting and having active experimentation with your mind using the Kolb learning cycle to help us to integrate. And I'm giving you a lot of material here because I want to move through it quickly. So if you want to get talk with me and chat with me more, I'm very accessible. This is my life purpose. So I would love to talk with anyone about this further. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And now we can say that travel is the best medicine, if I may translate your presentation, and that this transformation is not only before the travel, but it should keep much more long lasting after the travel. Thank you very much. And now we go to the last speaker, who is not online, but it's a pre-recorded presentation. We will talk about a very special health destination in Romania where they have 3 different natural remedies in one place. And Mr. Dr. Sahin Sridham is a rehabilitation doctor, and I tried to share his video. Now I hope to be able to do that. Yes.
There is no voice. You should share with voice. So when you're clicking, you just share with voice. Yeah.
Altitude. It is in the region which is, I will talk to you to let you know why it's so special. So Bele Tushnad is located at a height of 650 meters altitude. It is in the region which is highly ozonated air. It is rich in a region with a lot of negative ions in the air, and it provides a tonic mountain subclimate, which has a regenerative effect and a tonic effect for the nervous system. This helps for the people suffering from stress disorders or who are also mental exhaustion, asthenic neurosis. During convalescence period, this helps them to be more tonified and at the same time more relaxed. This is the effect of the climate and the highly ozonated air with negative ions. Also, in the station, we have a lot of natural springs, water springs, which have a lot of medical properties. We are one of the very few waters that have been so much tested, and we have so much research work done on the waters, mineral waters that are present in Vele Tushna. If some of you want to have a closer look, we'll make available the written research about it, but I will just go over it. What we found out from the research is that if the water is taken in internal tube for cranotherapy, it helps to regenerate the liver, but it has to be taken for around at least 14 days, and the regenerative effect on the liver is quite high. So, and it has been tested. We have one spring which is very good for this, another spring of water which is good also for endocrine diseases, for Basedow, for thyroid problems, and also for kidney problems. So these waters can be used for internal use as cures. Also, we have mineral baths, which are external treatment, external water use for the treatment of patients. This is mainly addressed to patients with cardiovascular problems. Very simply said, what happens is that those carbon dioxide present in the water, when we get immersed in the bathtub with mineral water, which has a carbonated inside it also, there's a small film of air with carbon dioxide which forms around our body. This small film of air makes a small pressure on the skin and also is absorbed through the skin in a very small amount and gets in the plasmatic fluid of our circulation. This small dose of carbon dioxide inside the muscles and distributed to the circulatory system make a vasodilatation, which means that our peripheral vessels all get enlarged, and this helps to reduce the pressure with which our heart has to pump the blood. So it reduces the blood pressure and thus helps in prevention of cardiovascular diseases, and also it doesn't cure cardiovascular diseases, but it's helpful to improve it, reduce the medication if we have it frequent. If we do the water baths frequently, we can in time also reduce the medication, but also it's very good for prevention. For people who are at the beginning, as they're starting to have some hypertension problems, instead of getting directly into medication, if they make those baths, they will find that their blood pressure is reduced and even regulated, and maybe it will not be necessary to go into medication. So this is a very important factor for which our resort and also our treatment center is renowned for. So these are the waters that you can use for external use, for internal use, and after this we have also the mofeta. The mofeta, there are special places where you have naturally occurring gases from post-volcanic activity, which are coming out of the earth. These gases are, again, rich in carbon dioxide, but also they have traces of other elements, other gases, radon and some other gases. These gases, what we have found out is that they get absorbed also through the skin, and they produce almost the same effect like carbon dioxide from the water. But on top of that, because it is, you don't get in water, it is on dry land, it gets absorbed faster, and also the vasodilation is general. So from people also suffering from erectile dysfunction have noticed that because the peripheral circulation is increased, that also they benefit from it. They found some improvement also. Unfortunately, we don't have at this moment studies on this aspect, but it has been confirmed, and also in the classic literature, it has been documented that the effect of increased peripheral blood flow is beneficial also for erectile dysfunction, and we can also correlate it that it's going to be better for people who are having infertility problems because of bad circulation on the genitals, be it men or also for women. And in Europe, because these problems are increasing, our station, our resort offers this facility to make prevention in this area and also to make some improvement in this area combined with the medical devices that we use. So these are the main aspects that you will find about the benefits of our resort. If you want further details about the mechanism of actions, or you want to have a copy of our studies, of course, we will make it available to you. And for more questions, I will also be available. You can write me on my email address, which will be provided to you. Unfortunately, I am not able to be live with you today, but hopefully in future we will be able to communicate again more.
So I hope Mr. Shedham was telling about something which was not known. So if you have any kind of cardiovascular problem, diabetes, high blood pressure, liver, it's either Mofeta, which is very unique in Romania, or natural mineral waters. That's how we started also a healing water initiative. It's not only what we eat, but also what we drink. And I would like to give the closing words to our main organizer, and thank you very much to attracting so many people to our session, How to Choose Health Destination. So Mr. Dr. Reza Soltani will give the closing words.
Thank you so much, Sheila, and thank you so much all our wonderful and amazing speaker. It was really good, and it is really great. I just want to say in short that from tomorrow the recording will be available forever, so you can always go and watch it. And also Sebastian, that had a technical problem, has sent already the whole speech. We will add it as well. And then presentation of the last speaker, the doctor from Romania, also will be there, so you can always go and watch them there with a biography of all the speakers will be permanently there. Just go to our website from tomorrow, instituteoftourism.com. Thank you so much, and thank you, Sheila, for your wonderful moderation and all our speakers. It was really good, and we look forward to have you again on our events. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
And stay healthy. See you soon with a smile and with a positive attitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Susie,
Thank
for
you very
waking
much.
up
That
at
was great.
5 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Thank
Bye.
you. And by the way, we had people from over 50 countries. That's great.
Wow. Thank you. That was your
Thank you.
organization.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.